Okay, so let's get into today's conversation. Thank you so much, Fortune Cookie, for being with me here today.
Of course, I'm so happy to be here.
Okay, so I've known you for quite a while, for a few years, and we're going to dive into your craft and your cats and the way those worlds overlap. But I'd love to touch base on, I was just thinking about this as I was getting ready for this interview. How did we first meet? I think you reached out to me, right, about Catbaret?
Yes, yeah. So I started burlesque at a low point in my life at the suggestion of a friend after a breakup. And this was right before the pandemic. So I took classes at Joe Weldon School of Burlesque, and I loved all the body positivity aspects of it and the community. And so after I finished creating my new act, and I was a very kind of young, um, inexperienced burlesque performer, but I had cats, and I saw that you had posted Cabaret, looking for performers for your next show. And I very excitedly just submitted myself. And I think I emailed you and I asked, can I bring my cats on the show? Because I was like, I'm not a very good performer yet. I'm kind of inexperienced, but I could like strip while I have my cats next to me, and that could be really cute. But you were like, I don't know, the that sounds like a great idea, but my show doesn't really have live cats because a lot of the venues don't allow it. So I think that's how we first met.
Yes, yeah. And since then, for our listeners, we call them our kitty cats. Fortune and I are friends. But yes, when you first reached out to me, I was like so happy someone reached out to me, to be honest, because the show was newer. And I was like, oh my God, someone wants to be part of my show. And then I felt so bad. I was like, oh no, like we're not really allowed to have cats at QED. And so but I don't want to like make her feel bad. So then I was so
Hmm.
excited and I saw your work and I thought you were so
Hmm.
fantastic. And you did a Hello Kitty act at Catbaret Parade. We did it this one venue in Gowanus. It was like a one-off show there. And you were
Hmm.
fantastic. You had these beautiful blue, or like rainbow colored like silks. So can you tell me a little bit more about like what year you started? You said you started burlesque when you took the class, New York School of Burlesque. You were going through like a dark time. But I know you also have a background in, I think, like circus arts too, or acrobatics. Could you share a little bit about that as well?
Yeah. So as a child, actually, I grew up in Chinatown and I did a lot of Chinese dance growing up. And so I incorporate and I like to draw upon some of my cultural background in my burlesque and use props. So, like you had mentioned, I did the Hello Kitty act with Chinese dance ribbons. They were rainbow colored. And then I also did, I did your QED act, and I stepped in because one of your performers canceled last minute, and I did my Chitara act with the Thundercats with a sword. And yeah, so that I do love performing with props because it gives you another sort of thing to interact with and for the audience to see. And because I am like a very physical and athletic person, it also kind of brings another aspect into the art of burlesque. And with my background in acrobatics and yoga, which grew out of after college, I did my yoga teacher training, and I was always that girl who was doing headstands and handstands in the side of the room while everyone else is trying to meditate. And they were like, yeah, maybe you should try acro yoga or acrobatics. So I did. And yeah, to make a long story short, I have a gym also in now located in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, where we teach a lot of circus arts and partner acrobatics. And I definitely do think it kind of adds another layer of just like complexity and fun and athleticism to my burlesque.
Yes, I'm always so excited when I see your acts. And what I love about burlesque in general is that a performer brings their own take on it, their own spin on it, and whether that's their, where like whatever it is that makes you special. And for you, I'm
Hmm.
always so excited to see whether it's props or your incredible strength and acrobatics. And it's so funny you said that. Like I'm the person doing restorative bridge with a block, and the person next to me is doing like full wheel or something. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm trying to rest.
Yeah, totally.
And shout out your gym for all of our listeners here in New York City. Tell us about the name of your gym and like more about what they could expect.
Yeah, so it's your non-traditional gym. There's not a single treadmill or weight machine in sight. It's basically it was envisioned as a space where people from all walks of life and all ages could come together and explore movement in various disciplines. And that includes, we had workshops with this a Star Wars stunt choreographer when we first opened. We did like a lightsaber workshop. We've done black light yoga. We've done, of course, acro yoga and, different like animal movements, improv. We had a Momix, which is the dance company that uses a lot of, kind of also like circusy type props. They've done and led workshops. So yeah, it's a really fun space, and I like to think of it as, a space where people who hate the gym can go and find a really good time because this is not a typical gym.
Yeah, and it sounds like a really cool community too, which I
Mhm.
really like, very positive.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
And I still need to take a class. I know, but when I signed up, I saw one of your cats like welcomes you to the club, right? Tell me about that.
Yes. So Donut is our mascot, and of course, this is just another way to bring some personality into the space of the gym. And when I first got her 10 years ago, this was before we opened the gym, I, was really excited to have a pet for the first time. And at the time, I was teaching like 10 classes a week at other gyms across the city and um, taking Donut as a little baby cat to like my classes. And she was always such a big hit because she's a rag doll. And if you know anything about rag doll cats, they're just bred to be very chill and mellow. So, I tried to socialize her in all my classes, my yoga classes, and the students, of course, it was a riot because they loved just having this little snuggly marshmallow in their hands that they could pet and stuff after class. So when I opened my own gym, I told my business partner Ben, I was like, we totally have to make Donut the mascot and the secretary, and she has to respond to all the emails. So if you sign up for a class, you'll get an email from Donut. You can also call the gym with info, if you have questions about the gym or the schedule. There's an option in the phone line that says, and if you want to talk to Donut, press 3 or whatever. And people do literally press it, and we have a recording. So yeah, that's the story.
That is so cute. And we're going to dive more all into coffee and donuts shortly. But I should mention for our listeners that yes, you have two rag dolls, coffee and donuts. So when you shared, like, hey, they're very comfortable, they're chill. For our cat loving listeners, all cats are different. Rag doll breeds are known to be more chill. So, like, I want to just shout that out that I've seen you recently we went on a tour and a walking tour, and you had your two cats. So that they're very lovely and chill.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think I'm very lucky because I do love to include my cats in as much a part of my world as possible. And I know, there's mixed feelings about, people like taking their cats outside and how it's, very dangerous and it is dangerous, but like you just have to read the personality of your cat and just know what they can and cannot tolerate. And yeah, of course, be careful when taking your cats outside. But my cats have been conditioned at a very early age to be taken everywhere. So yeah.
Yeah, and so they really, have inspired your art and the pieces I've seen at Catbaret. But when you're performing in general, I know you've performed at the Miss Coney Island
Mhm.
pageant, and you've performed at Hotsy Totsy Burlesque in your own show, Books and Burlesque.
Mhm.
We're going to dive into. But do you have a certain stage persona? Does it change from act to act?
Yeah, so my stage name is Fortune Cookie, and and it's really funny when I was first starting burlesque, my instructor Joe Weldon would say, to come up with a name, you can think of a flower and a cheese and try to put them together. But I was like, I don't have to do that. I don't have to be like rose cheddar or something. I'm already Fortune Cookie. And Fortune Cookie's persona is she's like a badass Asian superhero or warrior. And that's like how I like to think of myself when on stage. I don't always, have a sword or a spear when I'm doing burlesque, but I always try to channel that like um bravery and badassery into my performances.
I love that. It totally shows. You are badass. You inspire me to get stronger. Like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do like a handstand on a chair or whatever that I've seen you do, but
Yeah.
I'm inspired. And